This cartoon starts with a Shanghai police officer named Inspector Sun, who is a spider. He was supposed to go to a pier, and while he was getting there, he asked a cricket for directions. Then, the cricket was kind and helped Sun find the right way. After that, Sun Road got to the Shanghai pier on a seagull named Luo. When he got there, he met other police officers and a spider whose name he didn't know. There, they were looking for a runaway cockroach named Red who was hiding in the dock plant. But the Sun had something else in mind. He asked the cops not to help him catch Red, and then he went into the plant by himself. He finally found Red and told him to give up. At first, Red said no, but when Sun lit a match, it scared him. Then Red finally agreed to give up. But things got worse when Sun set fire to the plant by accident because it was full of fireworks. Even so, he was able to turn Red over to the cops, and media talked to him about what he did. The next day, Sun was called to his Uncle Sam's office. Sam was a police boss just like Sun. Sun caused the fire at the workplace, so instead of thanking him, Sam fired him. There, he was angry, so he tried to explain himself by showing Sam the story in the newspaper about how he had caught Red. Sam didn't care about Sun's skills, though, so Sun had no choice but to accept being fired. Sun didn't let this get him down, though. Instead, he took a break by taking a trip to New York City in the United States of America. Sun was surprised to see Jenny, who was a big fan of his, at the airport. Not only that, but she also offered to be his helper and help him solve crimes. But he said no because he thought he could handle everything by himself. Sun didn't want to go, but he missed his flight because he spent too long waiting for Jenny. He was left at the airport because he missed his trip. Shat, an old friend who was a horn beetle, was there to help him. He then found out that his son had missed his flight. And as luck would have it, Scrat was a security officer on the next plane. So, Scrat helped Sun get on the next flight to New York, and he finally got there. Sun was surprised to see Jenny in his room as soon as he got on the plane and went to his room. He didn't like that she was there, so he quickly called Scrat to his room. But Jenny went away by hiding herself somewhere. Later, when Sun went to the plane's kitchen, he saw that the bug travelers were eating dinner. There, he had dinner with a famous chemist named Dr. Bugsy and his new wife, Arabella. When Dr. Bugsy heard that his son had been fired, he offered him a job to protect him and his wife. He thought that someone was out to hurt him. Sun turned down the job, even though he offered it to him. Sun left, and soon after, he saw Dr. Bugsy and Arabella fighting, which led to Arabella leaving. At the same time, Scrat met Metz's son and told him to go to a room, where he told him that they had caught the stowaway who was bothering him, who turned out to be Jenny. Jenny was about to be thrown out of the plane by Scrat. Sun couldn't take it any longer and begged him to let her go. Then he finally agreed, but there was nowhere else for stowaways to stay, so Jenny and her son had to share a room. Scrat came back later and asked Sun to help him solve a murder that had just happened on. Soon after the murder, Sun went to the spot where it happened and was shocked to find out that Dr. Bugsy kid. Then, Jenny and I looked into the crime scene together. After a while of looking for hints, they went back to their room. Sun, on the other hand, told Jenny that he liked to work alone and asked her to stop helping him. He chose to take a break, but all of a sudden, a wild termite struck him. He was lucky that Jenny came to his aid and saved him. A glob beetle did that. Sun kept thinking about how strange Dr. Bugsy's death was, and he started to feel like something was wrong. He then went right to the airplane's holding cell to see Arabella, who was being held there. Sun went up to her and asked her if she had killed Dr. Bugsy. Arabella, on the other hand, denied that she had done anything wrong. Instead, she said that Dr. Bugsy used to be a member of the Bug Gangsters, but that he had changed his ways and was starting a new life. She also said that Dr. Bugsy had given her something that looked like a ball and told her to give it to Sun in case something happened to him. Sun then surprised everyone by putting Jenny in the jail cell, because he didn't want her to get in the way of his research. He went back to the scene of the crime and saw that Dr. Bugsy's body was being taken away. There, he chose to follow them, and in the end, he found where the ants were meeting. But the ants knew he was there, so they brought him to the ant queen, Shua. To Shah's son's surprise, Shua asked him to find out why 10,000 of her working ants had gone missing. At first, he said no because he was already looking into the death of Dr. Bucky. But Shua told him that the plane was the ants' home and that the other bugs were just traveling with them. The ants were in charge of getting food for all the other bugs on board. They also kept track of everything that happened on the plane and told the captain about it. Schwaz finally got John's son to agree to help her find her lost worker ants. Still, he was determined to figure out who killed Dr. Bug. First, when Shua heard this, she told him what to do, showing that Arabella was not the one who did it. When Sun got these directions, he decided to look for Dr. Bugs. He's making it hard to find more proof. But suddenly, Captain John showed up and told him that he was wrong to think that Dr. Bugs was one of the travelers. Captain John was so angry that he told the guards to take him out of the room, which meant that his investigation was over. Arabella made a jail guard pass out with hypnosis. This let Captain John bring the son to the plane. 3. To meet Jenny. Ska had set her free because he wanted both Sun and Jenny to help him solve Dr. Bug's case. When Captain John was not paying attention, Sun started asking the other guests questions. Mrs. Fatty, who was already on edge, was one of them. Jenny was busy with the baby, so Mrs. Fatty carried the baby while Jenny was busy, whom she thought were a little strange. But when Captain John saw Sun and Jenny investigating, he stopped them right away because he was afraid they would wake up the other guests. Arabella, who had gotten out of jail, showed up in front of Sun and asked him to dance. But while they were dancing, a praying mantis came out of nowhere and tried to take Arabella away. Even though Trash Out and the plane's security team tried to shoot the praying manes, Arabella and it got away. Jenny, who can jump high, came to help him, and together they chased the praying manes. In the middle of chasing them, Sun and Jenny found themselves on a plane with people sitting in it. As they kept going after the praying manes, Scrap Out came to help them catch them. But when they tried to help, they ended up in the cups of human travelers, which caused chaos. The people were scared when they saw bugs on the plane, which caused chaos. Even though there was a lot of confusion and chaos, they were able to quickly catch the praying manes. Sun and Scrap Out questioned the praying man, but it was hard because they didn't speak the same language. Arabella was able to talk to the praying mantises, and they told her that Dr. Bugsy used it to keep her safe from a monster. They didn't know what to do with this information, so they asked who the monster was. Soon after, someone who couldn't be seen took the praying manes out of Sun's hands. But before he could do anything, they threw the dead praying mantises back at him while they heard the monster's voice. After that, Sun and the others rushed to the plane's door, but they were shocked when they saw that Scrat was going to throw Jenny and Arabella out of the plane. Then, the Sun found out that Scrat had been going after Dr. Bugsy the whole time because he thought the loot was on the plane. Scrat suddenly threatened Arabella and asked her about the wealth. She told him that Dr. Bucky's only prize was his work. Sun was upset by his greed, and he then told Sun to give him what he thought was Dr. Bucky's ball. Soon after, the plane hit some rough air, which made them fall out of the plane. All of them were saved by Sun's spider web, even though they were in a dangerous position. Don't bother. Jenny's son used his spider web to catch him instead of handcuffs when he tried to steal Dr. Bucky's ball from Jenny. At first, they thought Scrat had gotten the real Dr. Bucky's ball, but they later found out that Jenny still had the real one and that Scrat had taken a fake one as they tried to get back to the plane. The ants helped them get back on the plane, which was a good thing. Because SHVA told his ant worker to help them, they were saved. In a bad turn of events, Sun dropped Dr. Bugsy's ball, which caused it to break in half. They were surprised to find that the ball was empty, which made them confused because Arabella was sure it had the orb formula liquid that could turn bugs into queen insects. With this new knowledge in mind, Sun started rounding up all the insects on the plane to try to find Dr. Bugsy's killer, who was among them. He talked to each bug, and Jenny was there to help him. Sun eventually said that Mrs. Fatty was the one who did it. He told them that Dr. Bugsy had given them the formula for the orb at dinner. This is what Fatty had seen happen. She then put the ball with the formula for the orb back without Arabella noticing. Later, Mrs. Fatty killed Dr. Bugsy because he hadn't found a way to stop the orb formula from killing people. She had eaten the recipe and become the queen of insects. Mrs. Fatty finally admitted that she was but it turned out that Red had planned the whole thing at the time. He set up a situation to catch Dr. Bugsy on the plane because he knew he was there. When he got out of their trap, it shocked everyone, including Mrs. Fatty and the other insects. But Red was caught again by Red's son. And Mrs. Fatty was also arrested after Red. He told his son that Jenny helped him solve the case, but his son didn't believe him and said he had solved the case on his own. When she heard that, she was upset and left him. At the same time, Mrs. Fatty began to change into a web, which finally blew up. Sun was lucky enough to live through the blast and find out that Red and Mrs. Fatty had gotten away from Red. And he had also taken Shaw's working ants and made them into Mrs. Fatty. When the plane landed in San Francisco the next day, Sun saw that all the passengers had changed into cocoons because Mrs. Fatty had attacked them. Arabella tried to attack Red and Mrs. Fatty, but she was also turned into a co. As Sun got on the plane, he finally met Jenny, who had avoided Mrs. Fatty's attack. They both said they were sorry, and the Sun understood that he needed her help to figure out what was going on. Then they went to where Red and Mrs. Fatty were and saw that Arabella, along with other insects, had also turned into a monster. Red and Mrs. Fatty told their men to fly out of the plane at the same time. Sun asked Captain John to follow them, since he hadn't changed into a cage. Captain John soon got in the plane and told the pilot to go after the monsters. On the other hand, Red and Mrs. Fatty were letting inmates out of Alcatraz prison. Jenny and their son chose to get off the plane to catch Red. He was lucky that he was able to get on top of Mrs. Fatty and ask Red why he had done all this. Red said that he thought the world was unfair because he was a cockroach and didn't fit in. Soon after, Red tried to keep people from getting in the way of his plans. Sun and Jenny were dropped from above Mrs. Fatty, but they were saved by Lou the Seagull. Sun then told Lou to fly towards Red and Mrs. Fatty. and he started fighting Red, which led to a fierce fight between them on God. Red, you should be lucky. Because of the fight, Mrs. Fatty lost her balance, and she and her husband both fell into the river where a fish ate them. Luckily, Jenny rode on Leo and saved Sun. They flew to the mainland, where the plane landed, and stayed there for a while. They met Captain John, who thanked them for winning their fight. Sun got Mrs. Fatty and used the antenna to call all the people who had been turned into insects. Shortly after Jenny broke the antenna, all the bugs went back to being what they were before. Red surprised everyone by getting away from the fish and swimming to the ground to attack Sun. But he fell on the floor and the fish ate him. At the end of the cartoon, another bug tried to get help from the Sun to solve a secret in Egypt, but it quickly died. Then he asked his new team of investigators, Jenny, Arabella, and Shua, to go to Egypt and figure out what was going on. The movie is over. This animation's message teaches us to keep going, be honest, and treat all living things with care, no matter how small or different they may seem.